This is breaking news.
How the Chinese Communist Party has conquered Hollywood since the 90s. China has given our elites far more than 30 pieces of silver, but everything comes at a price. Senator Tom Cotton, our ARC, writes in his new book, 7 Things You Can't Say About China, Broadside Books, February 18. Cotton, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence chairman and an Army veteran, details how China is the most serious threat to our freedom, and yet, he writes, American elites bend the knee to communist China and often act as de facto accomplices in Beijing's crimes. And it cuts across all segments of American society. Here, in an excerpt, he reveals the myriad ways the entertainment industry has done China's bidding. Hollywood's notorious kowtowing to China has muzzled America's most popular art form and brought actors, directors, and studio executives to heel. As a result, Hollywood hasn't released a movie featuring China as the villain in more than a generation. The Chinese Communist Party effectively conquered Hollywood in 1997. Sony Pictures released 7 Years in Tibet, starring Brad Pitt, and Disney released the Martin Scorsese-directed Kundun. Both films criticized China's genocide in Tibet and favorably portrayed the Dalai Lama. China retaliated furiously, banning Disney and Sony-affiliated Columbia TriStar from China, barring Scorsese and Pitt from traveling to China, and threatening to expel all Sony employees from the country. Instead of standing by their films and their supposed principles, both companies buckled. Disney suppressed the release of Kundun, opening the film in just 2 theaters on Christmas Day. Disney's CEO, Michael Eisner, traveled to Beijing for a groveling apology, calling the film a stupid mistake. Sony tried to buy absolution by lobbying for China's entry into the World Trade Organization and plying Chinese officials with gifts. This self-abasement ultimately earned Disney and Sony a reprieve from China and earned China billions of dollars in investment from both companies, but the precedent was set. The party proved that it could and would throttle major Hollywood studios that crossed it. And the party has maintained a boot on Hollywood's neck ever since, strictly controlling what films are released in China's massive and lucrative movie market. China can also imperil other studio assets inside its borders, like Disney's theme parks in Shanghai and Hong Kong. This story and its lasting consequences of preemptive obedience are told in Eric Schwartzel's Red Carpet, Hollywood, China, and the Global Battle for Cultural Supremacy. These days, Chinese censors rarely need to suppress movies because American filmmakers do it themselves. Movie projects casting even the slightest aspersions on China rarely escape the planning stages. But such movies still occasionally bubble to the surface, with results both telling and comedic. Consider, for instance, MGM's 2012 remake of the 1984 Cold War classic, Red Dawn. In the original film, heroic American teenagers fight to protect their community and country after a Russian invasion. In the remake, the young Americans battle a Chinese invasion, that is, until MGM's executives intervened. Fearing Chinese retaliation, they digitally altered Chinese flags and insignia, and made North Korea the invading bad guys instead of China. Who would imagine that an impoverished, starving nation of just 25 million people could conquer vast portions of America with its fleet of fishing dinghies? Hollywood execs, that's who, if that's what it takes to do business with communist China. Other examples abound. The makers of the 2013 movie World War Z changed the origin of a zombie outbreak from China, as it was in the book of the same name, to North Korea. After all, who could believe that a global viral pandemic could start in China?